Autism and travelling. Wow, now there's a subject, and if you're watching this as an autistic person, I'm sure you can 100% relate. Now, I just want to say, obviously, every autistic person is different, but this is my experience with travelling, and I'm sure there will be other autistic people out there that have a similar experience and feelings when they travel too. So travel, interesting. Now, when I was younger, like most younger people in their 20s, I liked the idea of travelling. I liked the idea of going to different countries and the excitement of booking a holiday and all that sort of thing. And I did that. I did go to a few places. I went to New York, I went to Cuba, I went to Jamaica, I went to a few places. I'm not a traveller, but I did go to a few places. And while I used to have the excitement of booking the holiday, that was great, and I loved booking the holiday, and I loved the excitement of, waiting for the holiday. But then when it actually came down to the holiday, I used to just get this overwhelming panic and terror of actually leaving and actually going and sort of fulfilling the holiday as such. So I used to start with the packing. I used to get incredibly nervous with the packing, and just the thought of leaving the home. When I got married the first time, we actually got married in Jamaica, and I remember being obviously really excited and super happy, but when it actually came down to it, I was sitting at the top of the stairs with the open suitcase just in bits, because I just thought, oh my God, I actually have to do this now, and not get married, but leave the house and go to Jamaica. And that was a really big deal for me. And I still get that now. I haven't been on a plane for about 15 years or so, because just the thought of doing that is absolutely terrifying. Let's face it, airports themselves are just an absolute nightmare. They're huge, they're busy, they're loud, they're bright, they are just sort of cavernous spaces of hell, in my opinion. And that's just the airport. That's before you have to actually do anything, take your shoes off and your belt and all these things and put them in the thing, and have all your go through the bit of the customs bit and your passport, and then not to mention waiting for the plane, finding the gate, getting on the plane. Then you've actually got to be on a plane for so many hours in this confined, horrible, claustrophobic box, with air conditioning, which always makes me freezing cold, no matter what the outside temperature. Air conditioning always makes me freezing, and it makes me feel so unwell. I got so unwell on a plane journey once that I nearly caught pneumonia. Officially, nearly caught pneumonia. I had to have inhaler drugs to get down into my lungs and everything. So that's just awful. And then when you get to the other end, you've got then the same process in an airport, and then you've got to be somewhere that isn't your house and isn't your home and isn't your safe space. So for me, travelling abroad is just really not very nice. I love the idea of it, and I wish it was not like that, but it is like that. I also have huge trauma from travelling in a plane as well, because my father lives abroad, and pretty much every year when I was really small, I'm talking about like the age of 4 or 5, I used to be put on the plane in England, and then on my own, and then fly on my own, and then get taken off the plane on my own and given to my dad, kind of thing. And the whole experience was just hugely traumatic. No one knew I was autistic at the time, but I don't care whether you're autistic or not, that is traumatic. And certainly for an autistic child, I'm being taken away from my safe space, my safe place, my home, my mum, everything that I was, comfortable with, and put in this horrible airport plane environment. Then I'm in a separate environment with my dad, who I didn't know very well because I only saw him once a year. It was just awful, and I would cry myself to sleep, and it was just very, very unpleasant. And as soon as I had a choice whether I wanted to go or not, I stopped going. And then I visited a few times as an adult, but I've now stopped going, and I haven't been for a long time now. So yeah, I have a lot of trauma surrounding planes, that's for sure. But it's not just planes, it's all travel. I don't like travelling in cars. I get incredibly car sick. I get seasick. I have to sit forwards on a train. I can't go backwards with the motion, otherwise I feel sick. Car journeys, again, are just so stressful. I don't like being a passenger. I don't like driving long distances. Just everything really is just so overwhelming. I mean, even for an example, last year we get together with some relatives every Christmas time, and we meet somewhere sort of halfway between them and us. And the drive was about 2 hours. Then we had obviously the socialising aspect of the meal and the get together, and then we had the drive home, and it was just too much. And while I enjoyed the bit where I got to see the relatives, the whole experience is just too much for me, and I find it absolutely overwhelming. And then it takes me a long time, the other end, to get over that. So I'm not just home and thinking, oh good, I'm home now and everything's fine. I'm like, feel deeply overwhelmed, and it takes me a long time to get over that. It's really very unpleasant. So my advice is, if you have autistic friends or family members, then if you can do anything to help them, it would be maybe if you can come to them, if not in their house, because they don't always like people in their houses, but in their direction, so they don't have as far to travel, then that would be super useful. So yeah, that's my experience with travelling. We're also the only people that I've ever met who go on holiday and then come home early. Like my husband and I have attempted to go on holiday a few times. I mean, never abroad and never far, just sort of, you know, car journey away. And the amount of times we've been and like gone and then had a couple of days and had, you know, quite a nice time, but then we've just gone, should we just go home? Because why are we here? Why aren't we just at home? It makes no sense. We could just be having some days off at home. So we actually go home from holiday early. I've also tried to do that when abroad once. I went and made the mistake of going on a girly holiday to Tenerife, and it was just an absolute nightmare, and I hated every single minute of it, and I tried to get a flight home but couldn't. So yeah, it's not something that I feel very comfortable with at all. So let me know your experiences. I'd love to know what you think. Do you find travel, airports, train stations, buses, do you find them challenging? Do you find them overwhelming? I mean, I lived in London for a period of my life, and I used to get the bus and I used to get the tube, neither of which I liked very much, but weirdly I still find them preferable to going in an airport or anywhere like a large train station or things like that. What are your thoughts? What do you like? Are you autistic? Do you find it difficult to travel? What things do you do? Do you wear ear defenders, you know, like cancel out the noise? Do you have something that helps you with maybe the smells of travelling? Particularly I find the smells of planes just turns my stomach. What do you do to help with your overwhelm when travelling? I'd really like to know. And also, please tell me I'm not the only one who goes home from holidays early. Is anyone out there also go home from holidays early or just doesn't take holidays because it's just nicer being at home? What do you think? Let me know. I'd really love to know.